but there are 51 digital lenders approved who, without much due diligence, I can actually go and access that credit.
And it hit me so hard that this could be a time bomb.
That means you need to have a wealth basket of your own education, because you're your own first investment.
There are 51 ways that from my bed, I can access digital loans from my phone.
You're right, yeah.
There are 51, they're called digital lenders.
Digital lenders.
Yes,
300 waiting as well.
300 waiting, but there are 51 digital lenders approved who, without much due diligence, I can actually go and access that credit. I want to throw it to the table because that is the reality we have out here. The digital loans, what's the room for that? Is that even something we should be doing as consumers? What does that mean for anyone who's listening? And let me put it on the table for the professionals.
I did an interesting informal survey. I asked people who I tend to hang around, whether they have Fuliza, branch, and all those. None of them had. None of them had. Then I asked my cousins, people who are jobless and hustling and, and almost all of them had. And it hit me so hard that this could be a time bomb.
It is. Not if it is.
It is a time bomb where there is actually... Now, let me add the third component, because I'm involved in this business. Who funds these mobile lenders? It is the people like us. The ones who are not borrowing. The ones who are not borrowing. So, I could see if I was to assess the credit quality of the people who are borrowing, there is no way they would have passed stage 1. You get it? And I could see how they are postponing. It's borrowing here, pay here, It's all mathematics. That is not mathing. It's math that is not mathing.
Yeah.
And my view was, within a time frame, there's going to be a wealth transfer. The people who have and they are comfortably saying they do not borrow, that wealth will have moved to these other guys and they would have squandered it because there would be no other way of recovering it. So that unless there are other ways, those institutions who are main channels, that they would have to bridge this gap. But it's a very sad statistic that I saw. So, but if we follow this channel of financial literacy that we are talking about, then you realize that the reason why these mobile lenders are growing very, very fast is because they are covering up for the gaps that these people have not been prepared to be in their 30s to 40s. So I'm having to Fuliza because my child needs to go to school. I'm having to do these things because I know bank can accept me to meet an important obligation. So the thing here and how now the idea of financial literacy is to avoid a situation whereby you have to borrow for something that is for consumption. You can only borrow for production. So again, in our financial literacy, we have to teach people if you're borrowing 100 shillings and you're paying 20%, and that is very modest in this mobile lending, you've got to make 40%.
Correct.
For you to say this is a worthwhile business. So I think that I can pause there.
Yeah, and just to add something, especially given that Pius, we are in the financial services industry and Kendi is in tech. So from where I sit,
what we can borrow from other ecosystem. When we come to the word finance, it is only here in Kenya where we think it is about banking or mobile money or digital lending. Finance is supposed to be store of wealth of value because money creates value when it is at rest. So we can actually borrow. We say we learn from the West, but if you look at, if you go to the US and talk about finance, they'll talk about the BlackRocks, you know, the fund managers, Fidelity, over 8 trillion in assets. So in a way, we need to now challenge ourselves. Yes, we found ourselves in the situation of financial inclusion, you know, the innovation there it comes. We need now to step back. And I've seen conversations on financial empowerment. Actually, this is one of them. So what financial empowerment says is that this is Robert, he's age X, and in 2021, Robert had planned to leave employment now to come to startup world. Let me tell you, it is not the payments or mobile loans that will help me. I need money to pay school fees and family expenses. So that is the journey that now the ecosystem should have guided me through, you see. Because this store value is what can do something for me. And it's very, very important now for the industry to shift towards that, because in a way, that is what will fund businesses, right? When you talk about savings and investments, and it goes back now to the mindset to help us with that journey and realize that actually what you have is what matters. Like, we cannot claim to be innovative and we're not looking at store value. So store value is under savings, under investment. So you really have, Kendi, Dolly, the mindset, you see? Because you see, this is an individual journey and you have to help me buy into this idea that I need to store value. And that is what can help me the holiday, the emergencies we are talking about, and even enjoy life. So I believe we are actually in a good position, and is what we call enlightenment, that is, you guys have seen a problem and now we are providing solution.
All right. So let me wrap this one up. 30s, 40s, sandwich generation, that generation. Live, I like what you say, live like no one else today so that you can live like no one else tomorrow. Define your growth, define your success. Understand what success means like. Define it first. But then we went back to the 20s and said, let's first understand what's your anchor. What do you anchor yourself on, or who do you anchor yourself on, so that however it is that wealth or money presents itself later, after your 20s, you know, you have the right decisions, you have the right mindset, and you take the right actions. The large life disruptors that show up when responsibilities are coming together, your education, your children's education, actually there's two ways in the education. There's your own re-educating. You know, now we're being told a degree. The last time I did this research, they say whatever education you have then was the degree, now it's anything, right? Then had a life shelf of 18 months because of how fast things are moving. That means you need to have a wealth basket of your own education because you're your own first investment. Yeah, so you need to continuously educate yourself. So there's life disruptors, education for your children, yourself, home ownership, that's a big one, medical expenses as well. So in this season, we're playing defensive and you're letting go of your portfolio if you do not know, if it doesn't show up in your calendar every morning or every so often. It's important to settle the parents, and it's actually a blessing that the parents are there with you when you're in this sandwich generation. I love the wealth basket for parents. I took everything and put it together. Do you have a wealth basket for your parents, right? Don't borrow for consumption, borrow for production. So that wraps it up. Now we're going to move very briefly to, I wrote on my book before I came, retirement, but now I know better. It is not retirement, it is 60 and above. The age at which, by law, and therefore, for those in employment, you are released from employment. And noting also that employment income throughout this journey, for those ones who are in employment, is the largest income that you have. The reality today, not what it should be. So what does it look like? 60 and above. Wow, what an amazing conversation here today. And so much more is going to follow in the month of April. So, see you all in the month of April at
the Financial Literacy Summit.